Hey, how you doing? This is Dubsy with a Tekkit tutorial. Uh, Here I am showing you a nuclear reactor with an incredible setup which will gain you more EU than you possibly know what to do with. This features a thermal monitor which will shut off the reactor if it reaches a certain temperature, a ice cooling, and let's check out how much energy it actually gives off. That is it filling up the MFSU now, and this is with a mass fabricator on, and mass fabs drain quite a bit of power, and it's still going up incredibly fast. You can barely notice any changes. We actually have 3 of these set up in my main server, connected to a power grid for everyone to use. It's quite nice, and we have multiple MFSUs constantly filled with 10 million EU. So, how to build one? This is what you're going to need. You're going to need 2 energy collectors, 2 glowstone. If you're using Mark III collectors, you will not need the glowstone, as the Mark III give off their own light. An energy condenser, glass fiber cable, a wrench, an ice block. You can make an ice block from having a 0 ring in a crafting grid with a bucket of water. The same works with the Ring of Arcana. If that's too expensive for you, you can use a compressor with a snowball, and that will compress into a block of ice. Mass fabricator, that is not needed, that is just for demonstrational purposes. High voltage transformer, an MFSU, a filter, a screwdriver if you don't get the filter correct, 4 times insulated high voltage cable, a timer, a redstone repeater, levers, redstone, pneumatic tubing, stone, thermal monitor. You can see how to make that, they're not too bad. Nuclear reactor and reactor chamber. Okay, start by placing down a neutral block. That's because you can't place down a reactor just to go with. Now you can throw your reactor chambers on the side. Great. Now we'll move on to the failsafe system. I should note that I should give some credit to the tekkitwiki. Gave me the idea for this design. Throw our thermal monitor on. Throw our redstone repeater there. No ticks selected. Some redstone down, and that's the failsafe. You can shift and right click to put a lever on. That will turn on and off the reactor at your own will. That is fantastic for when you're adding your own cells in, etc. Alright, next we'll add the collectors in. So you just have your collector, sorry, your condenser, a collector either side of it, and a glowstone block shift clicking to add to the top. This just gives it light so it can start producing EU. You put your ice block into the top of the condenser and it'll start producing your ice. Here you connect your filter to the reactor by placing your filter down in front of the condenser. Get your screwdriver selected so the small hole is facing away from the condenser. Pneumatic tubing to the reactor. As long as it's connecting to the chambers, you should be fine. Get your timer. You can leave it on its default time, there's plenty enough for the amount of ice that will be going in and out of it. Don't connect the redstone there yet, we'll just give that a bit of time. And that is almost done. All we need to do now is add our 4 times insulated cable. You'll need to place your block down again for that. So 4 times high voltage cable, that now. Your high voltage transformer that converts the extreme voltage from the reactor to the high voltage, which can be then placed into the MFSU. Yeah, the MFSU can't take extreme voltage. Grab your wrench, have it so the input's at the top. You can then add glass fiber cable into your MFSU. From here you can lower it down to medium voltage, low voltage, etc. for whatever machinery you use. Personally, I like just to use the transformer upgrades in my machinery. Just got to make sure that you connect it after you've put the upgrades in. So then you use whatever you're going to put the power into. Alright, now actually filling up the reactor. It takes, if you're to condense your uranium, it's about 24 diamonds, I believe. This is about 46 uranium cells you'll need to use to fill up this reactor. So you have 7 ice blocks down the bottom of the reactor. I don't believe that configuration actually matters, just the wiki tutorial said down the bottom, so that's where I place them. You can then start to get uranium cells. So yeah, you're going to need 46 of these. Okay, once your reactor is now filled with uranium cells, you can turn it on. Oh wait, of course you're going to need a piece of redstone to connect the timer to the filter. They'll start feeding the reactor ice. This is your coolant for the reactor, otherwise it'll get too hot, then it explodes, which is not very nice unless you want a crater for a base. Alright, they'll start filling up with ice and you should be good to actually turn the reactor on now. And yep, that's gaining your electricity. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Hey, something I forgot to mention is that you will need a world anchor. World anchor is something from Railcraft that keeps the chunk loaded. The reason you need this is because when you're away from your reactor, this may stop feeding ice to your reactor, but your reactor will keep going. This will cause it to overheat and possibly explode or trigger the off mechanism. So yeah, just plonk that down and they'll keep your chunk loaded. This can be kind of memory intensive if you have a low end PC, as it's equivalent to a player being in that chunk 24/7. So if your server is low end or your computer may not be able to handle it. So just heads up guys, thank you.